Well, hello there, guys. As you can see, I have a number of shoe boxes in front of me, and I want to take you through the journey today of me transitioning to barefoot shoes. So I want to start, I guess, back when I first found out about barefoot shoes. I used to run with a guy, it's probably been over a decade ago now. It was like 2012, in a group of different runners who had at the time a pair of those, I believe they were Merrell barefoot shoes, where they had the individual toes cut out and just had a very small piece of rubber underneath. You slipped them on like a sock, and I think I remember not long after that the American Podiatry Association was actually pushing the government to pull these off of the market because of how dangerous that they were as far as normal foot stride and strike, you know, with normal walking versus activity levels. And so kind of put that, I laughed at them at the time, and I kind of put that out of my mind. And then Julie has went through a journey over the last, I guess, 15 months of, you know, having bunion pain and talking to different healthcare professionals. She and I both did, knowing that both of our mothers have it as well, and realizing, you know, shoving the feet down in the heels and the small-toed shoes for women really wasn't a great fit for her. And for me, I feel like I have a normal foot as far as length and width. I wear a 13 in an athletic shoe. I wear a 12.5 in a business shoe. So even the business shoes didn't really give me any pain as far as the end of the toe cap. And so I watched her go through the journey for several months, and pain go away, and tricks and tips we were told that we were doing for her pain with her feet, and getting her out of those heels and into more comfortable shoes. And so we went and actually measured her height about a month ago and found that she had grown nearly an inch. Probably because of lengthening, I think, of large and small muscles in her lower legs. And so I never thought I would be able to run. And that wasn't the original idea to try these shoes, but I never thought I'd be able to run in something that had such little support. My original idea, because of the success that she was having, was to get a type of shoe, a minimal shoe, to weightlift in. That's very popular right now, to have a very flat shoe. I know there's companies out there that make those. I know some individuals will just wear in a pair of Vans or Converse to you know, do complex movements like squats or deadlifts, or just go barefoot. And so we kind of rolled into this here because of that. And then I decided, well, if I'm going to try that, then I want to try something else that is out there to help me run better, and possibly, hopefully, change the dynamic of my hips. So that old injury that I've told you about before with the left hip, the severe piriformis syndrome, you know, have not had a lot of structural change with that over the course of this year. And I thought, well, I've tried a lot of other things. Let me try this and see where we go. And so I'm going to take you through these three shoes, give you a review on each, tell you which ones I decided to keep, tell you the price. All three were bought from Amazon. And how I will move forward, and what I have done in each one of these shoes. These are three different varying degrees of barefoot shoe as well as support. So each one of these has a little less and a little bit of a different structure, although two of these are the same brand. All right, so the first pair that is up for review is the Ultra. This one is the, I think, Torin. Yeah, this is the men's Torin 7. Right now, this retails for $129 and something like 79 cents on Amazon. Ultra also has a deal through Amazon that you can order any style of their shoe and do a Prime, if you are a Prime member, 7-day try-on for free. And that is what we did with this pair. I am not used to this brand. I am not used to this shoe. So if you open this up, some of their shoes on the inside will tell you that the big key here for them is that they like to have a wider toe box, which again, did not think that I needed because I didn't have any pain slipping my foot into any tennis shoe, running shoe, workout shoe, what have you. And that they have a cup in the heel that allows for a more natural foot progression. This one has the most support out of all three, so that's why we're starting with this one. And I will show you here exactly what I mean with the design. So you can see how wide the toe box is compared to a typical run shoe. These do run true to size. I did order a 13. 13 is what fit. If you look at the side, you can also see we do have quite a bit of support. I will tell you the second thing that they're known for outside of the wider toe box is that when you look at a heel to toe millimeter drop, these are a 0 shoe, so there is no drop at all. If we were to cut this in half, you'll see a little bit of foam right here in the middle, but there is no stack height, okay? So that's their two big things. Would you call this a barefoot shoe? I don't know if you would call this a barefoot shoe. There is about 1/2 of an inch of foam in here running front to back, but again, there is no stack height, there is no individual arch support. There is a little bit of, they call it a depression. It feels more like roominess back here with the heel to sink into as you walk through. Again, I will tell you right off the bat, these were my least favorite because they did feel like they had the most support. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to spend that money, there is no reason why I need something that looks, for a 13, kind of like a Frankenstein shoe for me, especially with this big wide toe box up front. So they did feel, and you can see here on the side, I'll show you that, they did feel like they had the most support. If you can see this in the camera, I think this says Ego, yeah, Ego Max. So this is the max support shoe that they offer. I will tell you though, that it is the least amount of support, even though this is their max support, it is the least amount of support that I've ever felt in a running shoe. It wasn't bad, but again, I thought there's not enough difference here, and I purposefully wanted to find enough difference in the shoe. I will say that compared to the mainstream running shoes, and I know Ultra is kind of known in the running community more for their trail shoes, that we have individual support under each toe. And I'll get to that in a second, but I will tell you in both pair of Ultra shoes, when you run with these, what I felt was that the impact was hitting entirely across the whole toe box. And if you look at and you read reviews and you wear shoes made of traditional foams and traditional materials for the bottoms of the shoes, typically what you're going to see, first of all, is not nearly the depressions that you see for each individual toe, more of a solid overall, and you're either going to feel it closer as far as impact to the big toe or the smaller toe, depending on how you actually go through a revolution of your stride. I didn't feel that. In all other normal, normal is not the right word, in all other traditional form, I always felt point of impact here, and then it would kind of spread out from big toe to the rest of the toes. In both of the Ultra shoes, when you feel impact, it is directly in the center of the sole, and then it spreads out, because what it's doing is it's taking your toes through, and every time you hit, those those toes individually will splay. And that's what I felt every time that I stepped onto the treadmill with each stride, regardless of how many miles that I did. It is not as noticeable when you walk, but it is extremely noticeable when you run in these. And so what I decided to do for all three pair was to put 30 basic miles on these. Yes, it could have been more, so I can't promise you that I'm going to be able to give you as detailed as another running channel could, as far as putting hundreds of miles on these and wearing them out and see how they wear. I wanted to make sure that I stayed within that 7-day window of trying these on. Each one of these was walked around the house before they were ever put through activity for a matter of 4 hours. And then they were put on the next morning at the gym, and then they were worked out to get up to, like I said, the 30 miles. So we decided to do 30 miles and then kind of rate how they fit. Fit was fine, feel was fine, support was too much. I didn't want to do that. So that's why these are ultimately going back. That is the first review. Are they worth the money? If you're looking for a pair of support shoes that at least start your journey to barefoot, and you want normal feet splay and normal foot movement, then you should give these a try. I wanted something just slightly more severe, and so we'll get into the next two reviews and tell you how those are different than this one. Again, the Ultra Touring 7, $129 some odd cents on Amazon. Up next is the Ultra again. This model is called the Escalante 3. The men's Escalante 3. Again, ordered a size 13 in these. Again, 7-day try on Amazon. The price on Amazon for these were $89 and some change. I don't remember how much. These are a keeper in my eyes. So let's get into this. Again, right off the bat, you can see the toe box on these bad boys. You can see the sole. Okay, so this one's not going to be as long of a review because the Ultra models at their core are going to be extremely similar. Okay, when I turn it on its side, it might look like the same type of support thickness, but it is not. First of all, instead of that Ego Max, we have just the Ego on here. I will also tell you that when you cut these in half, the amount of support that is in here is extremely minimal. And so these are a keeper because when you run with these, this is the, well, just like they are the middle guy in the range of support here with what I'm currently trying, this one as well as being the middle with support is what, I guess for a beginner, what I want to feel with a minimalist shoe. Maybe that's a better word than a barefoot shoe. However, they're claiming that it is a barefoot. Again, there is a 0 drop heel to toe, minimal support in here. I can feel the ground much more severely than I did with the other pair. And then once more, the wide toe box allows for that individual splay every time that you hit and run through the shoe. I will also say that putting 30 miles that week on this shoe, I went to the chiro to have a normal adjustment. And one of the things that has occurred very frequently, to the point that we can say it's near 100%, is when we're looking at my lower back, specifically the lumbar spine, right past to the bottom of the waist, it is completely locked. It is extremely stiff, and it has been since that previous injury, which January will make 4 years. So looking at this, running in these specifically, and then going to the chiropractor a few days after, my lumbar spine, my lower back was completely loose. It moved 100%, which they grade on a series of 4. They moved at a 4. That means if they can put you in position and it will move on its own, then it's considered to be freely moving. It did that. Both of my hips did that. And I can tell you with these shoes, there wasn't a single blister. There wasn't any soreness. And I didn't feel any inflammation in my ankles or my lower legs. So I say that because I know trying new shoe brands for a consistent runner is extremely risky. And I know that blisters, and I know that quote-unquote breaking the shoes in, come with some level of tolerance. That was not here with these shoes. And again, with the minimal support and with the 0 drop, one would have thought that at the very least, the Achilles would be tight, my calves would be a little bit sore, some part of my ankle, inside or out, might have been a little bit sore, but that didn't happen. So these are a big keeper for me. These will continue to be ran in daily, both for short runs and long runs. And then if something were to happen, maybe I'll get back on the camera and update you to let you know, okay, this is about the amount of miles that we get out of them, or this is what happened after I did a 20-mile long run versus a short sprint run. But right now, the mileage, the speed, and the frequency, these shoes have been 100% awesome. And for the price, you cannot beat that. So they will be in rotation, and we will continue to get this pair, at least this model of the Escalante. And we'll see what happens as they move into to new models next year. But for right now, this guy, definitely for the run shoe, is what I will be continuing to train in, and you will see in the new year. We're training for a half marathon. We're training for Gasparilla in Tampa Bay at the end of February. These guys are going to be that shoe that we're going to do it in. So let's move on to our last pair. But this one, Ultra Escalante 3, definitely worth a buy. And last but not least, the most severe in what we tried out here on the channel are the Innovate. And you'll have to give me a second because this one's a long name. This is the Innovate Bare XF 210 V3. So this must be the 3rd version. Right now, unfortunately, this is the most expensive of the 3 shoes. However, for whatever reason, Amazon was running a deal when I purchased these, and I got these for $60. I believe they're $160 right now on Amazon. But it is dependent upon color and size, and it does seem like they run temporary deals, I'm assuming, on overstocked colors. So the color is now 160, but when I got it, it was 59 and some change. So let's get into these. Now, Innovate I had heard about previously. So I knew this was going to be the most severe that I wanted to get, thinking that I'm going to try to run in these, but the main thought I had was I'm going to try to lift in these. And if I can get the Ultra shoe for under 100 and this shoe for 60, then maybe what I will do, and this is what ended up happening, was have 2 pair so that I can cross train in one and I can run in one. Now, they advertise these as both, so they tell you you can cross train and run in these. I'll take you through that experience for me, but you can certainly tell right off the bat, these are the most severe and least supportive of all 3 of the shoes that we had. And so again, this colorway was the one that was on sale. One more time, the model is the Barefoot. The first thing that I will tell you is that the toe box is not as wide, right, which you can probably see. On the back of the sole, it will tell you that it is also a 0 drop shoe, which is probably a no-brainer with this one. And I can also say there is no arch support, and the only material between you and the ground, as far as severity, is this small piece of Gore-Tex rubber. So, when you look at it, one more time, it does have your foot structure on the bottom, as far as the toes lined out for the depression. I can tell you that walking in these was weird. Julie would tell you that I made a lot of noise. These shoes came first, by the way, and so I immediately put them on to wear them around the house. And again, I was making a lot of noise because my foot was having to learn to re-walk itself and to learn normal rotation and where to land, when you consider that the majority of shoes made today have at least some arch support that forces the foot into, let's just say, what marketing would call a traditional position, but not actually what it would be if we were still barefoot in the environment. And so it took me, I would say, 2 solid days. I actually didn't work out with these like the other 2 pair where I wore them for a few hours and then worked out with them immediately the next day. I didn't do that. I waited until all 3 pair were here, because the other 2 pair came on the same day, before I ever tried any of them out on the treadmill. So I had these for 3 days before the others came, and I only walked around the house and I walked around the neighborhood on walks with Abra just to get the feel of these down. And I'm going to take this liner out that they give you to show you how absolutely small this support is and how much material or lack thereof that you have underneath this shoe. Okay? However, after 2 days, I kind of calmed down and my foot made a lot less noise. I decided to take these. So again, they have the 30 miles. I decided to take these to the gym and attempt to run in them. And unfortunately, what I ultimately decided was these will stay as casual and cross-training shoes, which I do believe is where they shine, even though on the website they do claim that this is the best all-around shoe for activity, and they kind of keep it as simple as that. Running in them, it did feel like I was running barefoot, but not in a good way. For me anyway, when I run barefoot, and I'm thinking way back, like when I was a kid as well, running barefoot, I tend to run on the edges of my toes. Maybe hitting back on the big toe a little bit, depending on how far I'm running. And so it became evident pretty quickly that that wasn't going to work on the treadmill. So I tried, again, with all of them, but this one particularly, different speeds and different incline levels, and then just walking in some instances, and then, you know, ran it all the way up to sprinting. And these, for me at least right now, are not the choice to run in. However, they are amazing as a casual shoe and to cross-train in. Lifting in these is great. I can tell you that I feel much more intensity when it comes to working certain muscle groups, even though I've been doing these movements for years, cross-training. Very excellent for that. Walking around, very excellent for that. So if you want to go severe just as a walking shoe, or you just want to try what a barefoot shoe feels like, this one for me is the top choice. However, I will say that if you are a male, female that does have bunion pain, or that does have a wider foot, you might steer away from Innovate because they have a standard toe box. So there's not as much room in this area as there was with the Ultra shoe. But for me, it's 100% okay. Now there is a sock liner in this. There were sock liners in all three, but since this one has the least amount of support, I wanted to make mention there is a sock liner in here, but it is not cushioned at all. So if you're looking for a cushioned sock liner, you might want to put in another sock liner, but I didn't want that. They do make those. They actually make those with arch support too. But I wanted to retrain the feet and then get back into traditional shoes if that's what I needed. But it's not, quite frankly. And so I'll give you kind of a breakdown of overall in just a second. But for cross training, and again, for the $60 that I got them on from Amazon, absolutely worth the time and worth trying out if you're looking for a barefoot shoe to see what the feel looks like in normal daily activity. I'll put these away. And again, we're going to keep this pair and the last pair of Ultras. We'll be right back with a rundown. Okay, so before we go, one more time. This was unexpected for me. I didn't think I would like these shoes. I thought, well, I'll try them out, tell Julie that I've, given some effort, and there's no way, just too much soreness, too much muscle change, too much, from a physiology standpoint, that I would be able to force my foot to walk differently for the first time. Because quite frankly, unless you're on the sand, I would say once we get outside of being children, we simply are in shoes the majority of our life. And what I will say is, if you are a skeptic, as I most certainly was, I would give any of these three a try. Like I said, my point was to find 3 different degrees of support while being as close to a barefoot shoe as possible, going through normal activity for me, putting some miles on these shoes, and then kind of looking at, should we send them back, should we keep them? Fortunately for me, I found 2 of the 3 pair to be excellent, and will continue to wear both of these shoes. The Innovate shoe has turned into a shoe a lot of times that I wear out casually, just around town, they have become an extremely comfortable shoe, probably because I'm walking better than I ever have before. Now, I can't promise you that every shoe that I own from here on out is going to be a Barefoot shoe. My business shoes are still traditional shoes. I don't go through a whole lot of change if I have to put the business shoe on. Typically, though, that's only for a couple of hours, so that's a good thing. But as soon as I can, I go right back to that Innovate shoe, and then again, 7 days a week, I'm in that Alter shoe when I'm running, or I will take that Innovate shoe to the gym to cross-train in. I hope this helps. I would, again, highly encourage you to look for deals. There are deals out there. I did look at multiple websites, but Amazon did have the best. Amazon allowed me to try them 7 days for free, or at least 2 of the 3 brands that they did. And that is where I ended up. So that's all for me. That's what I'm going to use to train in for the half marathon coming up in the spring. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you end up trying it, or you have a different brand that you like, let me know. This is certainly not the end of the search for me. I'm going to continue to research. I'm going to continue to watch reviews and listen to the science behind the shoe, and we may change along the way, but for right now, these are 2 great examples for me when you look at my normal activity. So have a good day, guys. We'll see you again real soon.